Okay, I think we want to speak today about the Haydn Sonata E flat major. Yeah? This one. Yeah? In the original edition of Viennese edition, yeah, is written a forte in the beginning in parentheses, but this could not be correct, because the other part, the whole phrase, yeah, is, in German we say Vordersatz and Nachsatz, is much longer, and this part, this is only fourth of the whole phrase. So, and this is kind of friendly, is kind of tendent, yeah? So, of course, the beginning has to be in the same character. Yeah? So, there's a, could not be possible, this forte, yeah? I think you have seen something about old editions.
Yes, I looked up I performed this piece in October, and I looked at the autograph, Haydn's autograph,
yeah?
and in fact in his autograph there is no forte there.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, there's only the sforzato in bar 3 at the climax of the phrase, as you correctly point out. Yeah?
Ah, yeah.
So this is a later addition by the editor.
Yeah.
Who I think, there was a time when there was a theory that every classical piece had to begin forte. But I think that in the newest edition of the Wiener Urtext edition, this forte has been taken away again.
Yes, yeah.
I think this theory has now been replaced by a new.
Yeah, and of course like Beethoven said, we can underlay some words. Yeah. I should say in German, ach, wie bist du lieb, ach, ich mag dich sehr. Yeah. Or in English?
Well, in English, I thought you could take the words, you are very sweet, you are very fair, you are the fairest that I have ever seen.
Yeah, maybe you played.
Yeah, and I thought actually one should really, for the sforzato, find a word that has even more emphasis than fairest, in the sense of being the most beautiful. You know, you are the wisest that I have ever seen. Because that would give even more emphasis. But yes, I could try. I could play it.
I think so.
You know, I prefer a slightly slower tempo than you do.
Yeah.
But you are very sweet, you are very fair, you are the fairest that I have ever seen.
So I can see that you played slower.
I played slower than you do, yes.
So which means, I mean, we have always in the music the possibility to play a little bit slower or faster. Of course, it depends on the character of the piece, but also of the player, of the interpreter. Yeah. And even one person doesn't play it always in the same tempo, I think. Yeah?
As is true, yes.
Yeah. So another thing is this. Yeah, when in some editions there is written a dot, yeah, which means staccato. Yeah, but staccato doesn't mean staccatissimo. Staccato means only you have to shorten the note. But how much you shorten, it depends completely at the character of the motive or of the phrase. Therefore it is it would be ridiculous. It doesn't fit. Yeah? So this is also important to say.
Well, you pointed out to me that Haydn, of course, wrote with a quill pen, with a cut-off goose feather, and that it's very hard to make a dot.
Yes, exactly.
With this pen.
So,
and I looked again at the autograph, and it's clear here that he has made a little stroke, a vertical stroke, and sometimes later there are dots,
but a little bit sick, maybe.
But in fact, if you make the autograph, if you zoom in, it's not actually. You can see also there that it's a short stroke.
Really?
So I think it is difficult to distinguish between what is a staccato dot and what used to be called a kyle. You know, this vertical stroke.
But this is,
and you say you don't believe there is a difference.
We have also, but in this old music, it is means only staccato. Yeah, okay, but there's another important part about measure 106. This also is necessary to get the correct tempo. Very often you have you could play the beginning in different speed, but not some parts within the sonata. So sometimes you have first to look how fast or how slow you have to play these certain bars, and then you start the beginning. Of course, we don't keep metronomical the tempo. There is always a little bit difference, could be. But maybe you show this
this passage. Yes. Well, I would like to, just before I do that, remind our viewers of Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach's sentence, where he said, somewhere in every piece there is one phrase that can only go in one tempo. And this is the tempo of the whole piece. But of course you are quite right that one cannot play the whole piece in one metronomic tempo.
No, this is impossible.
And I think it is true that it is recorded that Beethoven used to change the tempo, modify the tempo slightly, depending on the theme. And this section is very interesting though, because this is a section where there are a lot of rests between the phrases, and it's a little bit like a recitative. So one might even argue that this is not intended by Haydn, or to be played in a metronomic way, and that is my opinion.
I'm sure.
But I think that if you look at the way the music is written, that it's like a question, and therefore there is always the silence is a very important part of the musical expression here, and that I don't think you cannot make silence metronomic.
No, of course not, because music is always kind of speech. You have always, you say something, this feeling is always together with like Beethoven said, when he said to the pianists, look how a very music singer sings, or how string instrument or wind instrument, how they play, and you should listen to them. About the pianist, he didn't say anything.
Well, no, because of course the string player, the flute, the wind player, the singer, they naturally sing legato. Whereas of course the piano is naturally staccato. So the pianist has to work very hard to make a phrase.
And the wind instrument or the singer, they keep really the note. But the pianist, after hitting the key, he has no influence anymore. Okay, so it's always a kind of speaking, and
absolutely.
Kind of recitative. Show this, please, this recitative in this.
Okay, I'd just like to explain something, because we're talking about the character of the piece. And the beginning of the exposition of this piece is what you might, is very diatonic. So we have very simple, clear harmonies, E flat, B flat, very little chromaticism. And then when this motif comes at the end of the exposition, Haydn kind of veers off into a completely different key, which is A flat, you know, and then the staccato is then with a slur above it, it's semi-staccato, and that's only 4 bars in the exposition, and then it goes straight back again into the normal E flat major cadence. In the development section, then the development is then in the minor key, and then goes to D flat major, and then this motif comes back much more expansively in quite chromatic, in a very chromatic way, which is a great contrast to the exposition and the recapitulation of the piece. And it is almost as if the music then slides into completely different, onto a different sphere, and then very cleverly Haydn then returns it back by turning a B minor diminished chord into a B flat major dominant 7th chord, and then suddenly we are back in E flat major. And it's very interesting the way he does that, this chromaticism, and I think it's very much like a question. I'm not quite sure what's going on. It's almost as if suddenly the pianist is thinking about something and looking for something which is outside the piece, and then it goes back in. But I will try and play this in this sense. So we're talking here about well, if we look at the development, we have in bar 84 is C minor, and then in bar 92 is F minor, and then we have the D flat major, which is the 6th degree of F minor. And then we have a half cadence in 106 in C major. And then there is a rest, and then we suddenly have this. So there is this whole very large section which suddenly grows out of this. Out of this little motif at the end of the exposition, which is then turned into this enormous chromatic, I don't know, like a maze, you know, and it's very, very imaginative what Haydn does. But I must say, I do take that as the basis for my tempo at the start. As you say, this can really only be played in this slower tempo.
This you cannot play faster.
So I try and take this as my basic pulse. But of course, I think one could argue that you could also change the tempo here and simply also, as Furtwängler always said, there is no correct tempo. It depends on the acoustics of the room and you know and the reaction of the audience, you know, and these things are very individual. And are different from time to time.
I think we should speak once more another time about other sonatas, because this is a very interesting thing. Okay, I think for today it was.
Thank you, Arthur.
Okay.
Thank you.